Oh, really?
Yeah,
Tom
yeah,
Lee?
yeah. They're $10 billion. And that makes so much sense. It makes more sense to Treasury this than it does Ethereum because it's a revenue generating business and there's potentially no top. So you buy the Treasury, the company keeps making more profits and keeps investing it back into the token. It's insane, man. Because you have barriers to entry if you want to do leverage trading, KYC, what country you're from, and giving the entire world access to on-chain leverage trading where you have self-custody as well. So you're not trusting your assets with this third-party exchange. It's phenomenal, right? Around 97% of the assets, the profits that they made on the platform, they reinvested back into the token, and then the token just continued to trend up over time. And it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful business model. And it's kind of like getting into the new Binance, right? It's kind of like getting into the new Coinbase, and those opportunities don't come around very often.
All right, everybody. So what it came down to was Aster and Aventis. And those two projects came out of nowhere. Thankfully, my friend Wes tipped me off from Smart Money Tracking, and he told me about it in the beginning. And of course, I was a little bit skeptical, but here we are today. Wes, welcome back to the show for third time, fourth time? I can't remember.
Third or fourth. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me back on. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, my portfolio is looking pretty great. And it's not just, of course, Bitcoin, it's a whole bunch of other things. But if you're not following Wes, there's a link in the description which you know how to do this. You can follow him on YouTube. But where I like to see him over there is on X. And he's, again, the one that tipped me off with Aventis, which is the perp trading, which is backed by Brian Armstrong and Coinbase, and it just shot up like a rocket. And lately, Wes, it seemed like you've been talking nonstop about Aster, 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 more Aster. And then, of course, you also talk about Hyperliquid and how you're shorting it. And of course, the proof is there. I mean, look, Aventis over 7 days at 118%, and Aster is just going bananas at 244%. Let me refresh this real quick. 263% over 7 days. So talk to us about how you got into this, why you think it's going to be so great, and is there longevity here? Is this flash in the pan?
So this is a sector that I've been looking for years, and a while back when we were getting really into DEXs and decentralization, there was talks of, you know, one day there's going to be decentralized leverage trade. And I said, guys, that is going to be massive. That's going to be a huge market. Why? Because you have barriers to entry if you want to do leverage trading, KYC, what country you're from, and giving the entire world access to on-chain leverage trading where you have self-custody as well. So you're not trusting your assets with this third-party exchange. It's phenomenal, right? Great business model, huge potential. And I actually ended up getting into one of the early projects, which was on GMX. And it didn't work out for whatever reason. It didn't work out. I hit my mental stop loss. I think I set a stop loss of 50%. And it didn't work out. They had decentralized leverage trading. They were inside Telegram. You could take leverage trades. And it just didn't catch on. I don't know whether it was the marketing, the moment, the team, maybe the time wasn't right, but it disappeared. And then Hyperliquid came out of nowhere. And unfortunately, I saw Hyperliquid quite late and they finessed it. They finessed the business model. One of the unique things they'd done was their buyback program. So they actually took the profits that they were making from the platform, reinvested it back into the token. I think it was around 97% of the assets, the profits that they made on the platform, they reinvested back into the token, and then the token just continued to trend up over time. And it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful business model. And I think CZ, Coinbase, I think they've looked at this and said, look, you know, if we don't come and try and take on the competition, they're going to wipe us out because they've finessed this business model. Clearly, we can see their volume, the fees they're generating are going up. And yeah, we're at the very start of this movement. It's a crazy time. I've never seen anything like this. I think I've been here 5-6 years, and I've never had more conviction in a protocol than I do now. And that's why I think these are going to do really well. Not even this cycle, like in the next cycle as well. I think these are going to be around for many years. And it's kind of like getting into the new Binance, right? It's kind of like getting into the new Coinbase, and those opportunities don't come around very often.
Right, and that's why I thought it was so interesting when you explained it to me when we were texting back and forth, and you said, you know, this is what CZ wanted to do beforehand. He wanted to do a decentralized Binance. And I had heard that story before, and I just kind of played it off because I'm like, well, you know, they got Pancake Swap, which is on BNB, they got all the things, but it's not really owned by CZ. So talk to us again about, or just kind of elaborate as far as the conviction here, because are we essentially on the cusp of like what BNB token was, as we shift from centralized exchanges to DEXs? Because I mean, we have Aventis, which is again by Coinbase, and now we got Aster by Binance. Is this the future? And that's why. And then also dig down, and we'll get into the elaboration of the token itself, because he talked about it's a revenue generating token, which I got to tell you sounds kind of odd in this space some days.
Yeah, absolutely. If I just share my screen with you, I can actually draw it out for you. So basically, CZ came out on a video a few days ago and said that he thinks decentralized exchanges, especially perps exchanges, are going to be bigger than centralized exchanges. So we have DEX, we now have DEX perps, and we have centralized exchanges. And he's saying that Hyperliquid, basically what he's saying is Hyperliquid is going to wipe out Binance and Coinbase because it's decentralized. You know, it's providing access to the entire world. There's no KYC, and you know, anyone can go on there, and they're obviously introducing more features. So basically, Hyperliquid have finessed the business model, and Hyperliquid's token. What happens is the fees that Hyperliquid make, they put 97% of that back into the token. And then what happens to the Hyperliquid token is it just goes up over time. It doesn't matter whether a whale sells or not, right? If a whale sells, maybe some people made a lot of money, they just continue to buy the token back. And then more people sell and take profit. Maybe they hit a 10x, they hit a 15x. The protocol continues to buy back the token, So you could argue, that there is no top to this business model, because the only way this business model fails is if people stop trading on Hyperliquid and the users were going up. More and more people were finding out about Hype. More and more people were having access to trade on Hype. More and more people were getting restricted from using centralized exchanges. So as long as the user base grows and kind of sustains, it doesn't have to grow forever, right? Because it can sustain if it's making $10 million a day in revenue, and it's putting that back into the token continues to go up. It really doesn't matter who sells, because the protocol continues to buy. So you could argue it's quite similar to the MicroStrategy system, except it doesn't have the dilution, because MicroStrategy buys Bitcoin, the stock goes up, but then MicroStrategy sells the stock and they create more stock, and it dilutes the value of it, right? So it almost sounds too good to be true, which I don't like. It sounds too good to be true, right? There's no top, it can go up forever, which, you know, we've been in crypto before and seen this many times. But from as far as I can understand, the only risk here is security. And as long as, you know, this is CZ, this is Binance, this is Pantera, who are back in the Coinbase version. Some of the best in the game who know about security. They know security is paramount. I mean, we've been through this with Cake. CZ's already been through this with Cake on Binance, and they've got some of the best in the game around them. And are they really going to put a protocol like this on the line with security? I don't think so. So there is risks there with security, but I think this is going to be huge. I really do.
So Wes, so great breakdown. Talk to us, because for me, I'm not a big trader. You're more of obviously trading. And then I think a lot of people on my channel are not big traders. Talk to us about perps, perpetual trades, and why you like that, and why it's such a big boom for traders out there. What is it, and the benefits of perp trading? Perpetual.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk about that on the board again. I can explain it better here. So one of the main things that's drawn in quite a lot of retail in perps, especially in Binance, is the fact that you can leverage trade, right? So what is leverage trading? Leverage trading means that if you have $1, you can leverage trade with a multiple of that dollar. Sometimes it's 10x, sometimes it's 50x, whatever leverage you want to use. Some platforms don't offer specific leverage, which attracts retail to use platforms that use high leverage. So let's say, just for an example, let's say you use 10x leverage. That means you're trading with $10. if you use 100x leverage, your $1 is now $100. Now, this really sucked in a lot of retail because a lot of people don't have much money to invest. They don't have a lot of money to risk. And they sort of thought, oh, if I can only lose $1 and I can use 100x leverage, I can trade with $100, but I can only lose $1. So it became very popular. Even for me, if I put $1,000 on a trade and I trade it on 100x leverage, I'm actually trading with $100,000, but I can only lose $1,000, right? So it's really, it's become quite popular amongst traders. The downside is you can lose that money very fast, right? So the more you're trading with, the more leverage you use, the smaller the breadth you've got before you get liquidated. So you can always lose it, but really, really popular amongst traders. And one of the problems with hyperliquid is the leverage was quite low, and they only offered small leverage. For example, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they listed Aster at 3x leverage. And Aster listed hyperliquid at 300x leverage, I think, maximum. So just basically trying to say you can't mess around with our liquidity, right? We've got more liquidity, we've got more money, we've got more APIs. So yeah, really, really cool. That's why a lot of people use leverage. I personally trade on very low leverage. So I'm kind of a low risk leverage trader. So I use lower leverage and more money. For example, on Aster, I bought $10,000 worth of Aster and I used 3x leverage. So now I have $30,000 worth of Aster, which has gone up now, I think 3 or 4x. So, it's over $100,000 now, but I only risked $10,000. Okay. So I have $100,000 now, but I only risked $10,000. And if I wanted, I could obviously take 10K profit and this would all be free money now, right? This $90,000 would be free money. That's kind of how I trade, very low leverage. Yeah.
Makes sense to me. Okay. So now we know about perpetuals and we talked about why this could be big. So Hyperliquid, they are doing buybacks, like buyback stocks, buyback crypto. And this is what's being done with Aster as well. They're buying things back. So it's just a perpetual motion, not to confuse people with perpetual trading, but perpetual motion of just putting that money back into the token itself, letting things ride. What else can you do over there on Aster besides looks like leverage trades? Is it just the allure of that? Because I saw it was crazy. It was like, 3x, 5x, and it went to like 50x. And I think it's over 100x over there.
Yeah, great question. There's so many different things that they're doing at the moment. If I share my screen here, so we won't waffle on about this. There's a lot of data here, but they do different things. One of the things Aster does, which I like, we'll talk about the key things that I like. They're multi-chain, absolutely huge. Many people who have been in multiple cycles probably have experienced what happened last cycle with BNB. There was a lot of crappy projects, a lot of scams. It felt like everything on there ended in the word finance and was down 95%, within a few weeks. Yeah. We had a bad experience, and there's been kind of a bad vibe attached to BNB. And we've seen a lot of liquidity actually stay on Ethereum. You could also argue that it's slightly more centralized than other chains as well, which a lot of people don't like. So love to see that it's multi-chain. They've not tried to take on the world. They've tried to say, look, we want this to be open for everyone. So it's BNB, Ethereum, Arbitrum, Solana, whereas Hyperliquid is restricted to its own layer one. Okay, so there's obviously questions for security there as well. Avantis is on base. Now, I don't know if they're going to add more chains over time, but yeah, Avantis is on base. One of the main different features that I'm interested in, obviously, we've got the buyback feature. We've got crazy leverage, 500x on Avantis, up to 1000x on Aster. Still, again, much higher than Hyperliquid. So they're still outperforming Hyperliquid on features massively, which I think is going to suck a lot of users to the new competition, especially as the market caps are so small. But one of the main ones is stocks. Obviously, you're going to get APR and staking on a lot of DEX protocols. So it's not really a USP. Hey, it's nice that I can stake and try and earn some extra cash here. But one of the others is stocks. So Avantis and Aster offer stocks, which is absolutely massive. So now we're not just talking about the crypto market, right? We're talking about, hey, come and trade Apple, come and trade Nvidia, come and trade Tesla on leverage, on 50x leverage, right? On X leverage. Not only that, come and trade with no KYC, right? Now, the stocks market has so much money. If you think about the market cap of Nvidia, it's like $4.4 trillion. It's almost double the size of Bitcoin. That's just one stock. If you think about how much money is inside the stocks market, this isn't a protocol just for crypto anymore. It's a protocol for the stocks market as well. And I think they're going to take customers from eToro. They're going to take customers from Robinhood. So when I've been comparing the revenue that Binance make, we can roughly say around $510 million a month. We're now talking about potentially a new Binance that doesn't have all of the red tape to get through, that can appeal to the stocks market, the crypto market, the metals and gold market, the FX market, commodities, that could potentially massively surpass Binance because of the barriers that it doesn't have to get through with red tape and regulations. So the potential for this is maybe 2, 3, 4x Binance in the near future, right? So this is why I'm getting a bit excited, and I haven't sold any of my Aster, which is very rare for me. I always de-risk, take out my initial, take some profits. I haven't sold anything, and yeah, the more I dive into this, the more I'm like, well, this is like a one in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm just glad we found it in week 1, man.
So me and Wes, this is where we differ. Because Wes, we talked for quite some time. I've never heard you had this much conviction on a project. And even though you do, and even though it sounds fantastic, I still have to stick with what I'm doing, which is it's doubled on Aventis. I sold half. I'm letting the rest ride. And now for Aster, I think we just crossed my doubling. So I gotta sell it. And then it was like we talked about before, and you had a good point. You said, if you got into Ethereum back in the day and you put $100 or $1,000 and it went to $1 million, and you sold half in the beginning, you only have 500,000. He's like, and you're like, I'm not doing that. And me, I'm looking at him like, I'm doing that. I'll take $500,000. I'll be okay. But
I did say to my guys that if my profits reach 2 million, I will have to take some profits. I would love to hold this. I would love to hold this into next cycle, but 2 million would be way more than my current portfolio. So I'd have to, if I made that on one single play. And you know what, Rob, the crazy thing about this is it only has to reach half of Hyperliquid's market cap to return $2 million for me. Because obviously I'm using leverage as well, right? So I would make over $2 million, and it only has to do half. And today we just surpassed Hyperliquid's revenue. So we're making more money than Hyperliquid already. And the volume, okay, it's not even listed on Binance yet. This is week 1. There's people in TradFi who don't even know what this is. It's not listed on Binance. It's not listed on Coinbase. It is on Binance Alpha, but it's not actually listed spot on the Binance platform. So, yeah, I am taking a bit of risk, guys. Very reckless to do. I'm usually always taking out my initial investment, but I was thinking. CZ posted recently, he keeps leaving us little nuggets. I'll try and find it whilst I'm talking. He keeps leaving us little nuggets about BNB, and he recently posted just before Aster launched. He posted saying BNB has done a 10,000x over 8 years. So that means if you purchased BNB 8 years ago with $100, you would now have $1 million in a year. Like I said to Rob as well, if you sold half of it, you would have sold $500,000 for $50. Wow. But who is holding that for 8 years, right? Very, very hard hold. But he also said it wasn't easy. We had to build. We had to hold. Here's to the next 10,000x. Okay. I can't find it at the moment. I'm still scrolling, but he did.
You post all the time, Wes, because you post constantly.
I post too much. I've posted too much. This is how excited you can see how excited I am. I've posted like 1,000 tweets about Aster and BNB.
Hey, while you're looking for that, I just want to interject and just say that when you were talking about it, it hit home about perps and how traders want this. We know that institutions are here and they're coming in mass, especially for the DATs, the digital asset treasuries. So if institutions are here and they want to do some kind of trades, 3x, 5x, 10x, 100x, 500x, 1000x, this is the thing. And then the thing that you brought up, I forgot about this, which was this: there's no KYC.
Yeah.
So there's no KYC to use a DEX. The thing is, right now, if you're not used to trading and using hot wallets, it's kind of a pain in the A to actually buy Aster. It's not that tough, but the way that I saw it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that I saw that it was just through Tether. So you have to get Tether somewhere, put into your hot wallet, and then you could buy Aster on the website, which we'll go over in a bit. But that's how I used it.
They're going to have to work to onboard retail. That's one thing I like about Astra. They have a mobile app. So Hyperliquid don't have a mobile app.
Really?
Avantis don't have a mobile app. But CZ, the way I see this is, if you look at Binance, I used to work at a regulated exchange, and we were more like a Coinbase. We were after institutions. I had to try and pitch institutions and try and get them to stake with us for like 4%. And I see Avantis being the Coinbase version, and they'll do the slow and steady. There's no rush for Coinbase. They'll do the slow and steady. Let's do this right. Let's make sure security is right. Let's analyze the volume. Let's study a marketing plan, and they'll go after whales and institutions. I think CZ will go after retail. What do you need if you're going after retail? You need a mobile app, right? You need a mobile app to bring on those users, especially in countries where, poorer countries where they don't have laptops and stuff. Those guys need access, and there's large trading volumes from a lot of those countries as well. So they're going to go after retail. Now, obviously, having worked at an exchange, most of the money comes from retail. A lot of the volume came from institutional clients, but a lot of the profits and the margin, over 80-90%, comes from retail. Where's my main play on this? I'm looking for whoever's making the most revenue, because you're going to be buying back the token every month. So if you're making $500 million a month revenue, I know that there's a whale buying my token every month. I'm not going to sell my token. Who's going to sell their token when they know that $500 million, $50 million, whatever it is being plowed back into the token? So I'm trying to see now who's going to make the most revenue. Hands down, Binance, right? Coinbase's version, I think it's a nice play. The market cap is so much smaller, so there's quite a nice play there. As there's a catch-up trade, the difference is huge. I think the FDV on Aster is maybe 17 billion, 18 billion, and the FDV on Avantis is 2 billion. And the pro for Avantis is the team and the VCs are locked for 12 months. So there's a cliff on that, and they're completely locked. I did find the tweet I wanted to show you from CZ.
Sure.
So this is the tweet he mentioned. It's funny that he mentioned this just around the same time that they launched Aster. So yeah, we held. It was challenges along the way. He's talking about the 10,000x that BNB's just done. There's challenges along the way. We worked really hard. We built and we held. It was truly a community effort. So decentralized perps exchanges, they're pretty much community projects in a way. This is just the beginning to the next that 10,000x together. And he's been dropping loads of little Easter eggs about one door. He tweeted saying one door closes, another door opens. He tweeted about how he was locked up in America. And if you think about it, when he was locked up, he kind of had to sign some deals so that they could get access to Binance. And this to me feels like he's like, oh, okay, I can do another Binance on a decentralized platform. I can't do it, in the old-fashioned way, but I can do it decentralized manner. That's kind of what it feels like to me, and it feels like we're literally investing in the next Binance.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a funny thing because, like you said, there's no KYC, and I think that's a lot of the issues with certain individuals in certain countries. Take that as you will. And then if we just take a look at Aster, I had forgotten about this, about the download. It just kind of. This is why I'm glad I have smart guests on, so they can remind me. Download app, you got it on the Google Play Store. I'm sure Apple app is coming at some point. That sucks for me because I've got an Apple phone. And then you just launch the app, and then the whole way this works, you don't need to have KYC. You just connect your wallet, which you can see up right here. I'm not going to do it, but I mean, well, I've already done this. I just want to do it during the recording. You connect the wallet, and let me see. And your options are Wallet Connect, which is a ton of different ones that you're option to, Brave Wallet, Phantom, and MetaMask. And then pick your poison. You use those wallets. And then what I did was I just went here to buy Aster. I just transferred a bunch of Tether, which I bought at a regulated exchange. And then I put that into my wallet, my MetaMask. And then I just bought a bunch of Aster after me and you talked about it. So that's essentially it in a nutshell. And then when you want to do trades and stuff like that, that's when you go watch Wes's channel, because I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah. You see, Arthur Hayes also sold his hyperliquid. So he sold his hyperliquid, and this is why I shorted. I said, look, there's too much competition now, because we had the Coinbase version come out, and then you just can't bet against CZ. You can't bet. The guy's got too much money, too much power. He's very smart, incredibly smart, incredible connections. I mean, we even saw Mr. Beast buy in within the first week, right? That's just kind of a reminder of the connections they got. I mean, their Binance had Ronaldo as a promo guy.
So two things. First of all, I remember Arthur Hayes. We talked about this yesterday. He dumped some of his Aster because he said he had to buy a Tesla.
Yeah, I got the tweet. Yeah, I got the tweet here. So he said he sold $96,000 hype, which is worth $5.1 million. During the speech at WebEx Summit on August 25th, so not even long ago, he predicted 126 upside.
That's it.
X upside for hype. But he's sold at a loss. So basically, the reason Arthur Hayes said there would be 126x is because he was right. Like we literally just talked about. If they're buying the token every month, you don't even need to expand. As long as you're maintaining the same amount of users, you buy the token every month, it's going to go up. Even if the market cap was 10 billion, 20 billion when Arthur Hayes says that, it could potentially go up. You could even argue, this is going to sound moon boy, you could even argue it'd go to $1 trillion market cap over time, right? Over many years. So he was right. But one thing he didn't see is Binance and CZ coming out and saying, we're going to wipe Hyperliquid out. We saw what happened with FTX, right? It's a dangerous game going up against CZ. And Coinbase coming out at the same time. So I said, look, there's just too much competition now, right? They're going to come out. They're going to offer stocks, commodities, more features, more leverage, more chains. Aster have introduced Solana. And just think about all of the traders that have just been onboarded this cycle through Pump Fund. What do they love to do? They love to be degenerate. They love to be degenerate. They know how to use their wallets. They know how to use dexes. They know how to use Pump Fund ecosystem, which you could argue has some of the same features as a dex, a perps dex. So onboarded straight into Solana, trade away, right? So yeah, I think this is the start. And I also think you're going to hear Arthur Hayes go into these. I mean, look, if you're an investor and you're up, how much are you up on Hyperliquid? Some of the wallets I've gone into Hyperliquid are up over $100 million in a very short amount of time. You just have CZ and Coinbase come out and launch competitors. You're going to diversify. Even if you don't sell all of your hype, right? Even if you don't sell all of it, you're going to diversify. I would argue a smart trader would sell everything and go into Avantis and some into Aster, because you've just made huge money. And now the competition are coming and doing it even better. You've just seen that the perps volume and revenue is outperforming hype in week 1. Where do you think we're going to be in week 25?
That's pretty dangerous. Yeah, taking a look at Hyperliquid, we can see that, and it was the great thing. And this is why I heard about this from my buddy Steven here in Puerto Rico. He's like, "This is gonna be big. Perp trading is a massive opportunity." And I didn't get it, but I got into it. And 24 hours, you're down 4.5, 7 days down 11. But I mean, over a month, you're up 7. You know, 3 months, 24. It just depends on how long.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to die, because I think it's going to be around. If some of the maxis, there's a lot of maxis in Hyperliquid, you become very attached to your investments when you make money, which is understandable. But it can be devastating if you get too attached. The hope with Hyperliquid is that if they keep enough users and they still continue to put 97% of the money into the token, it can continue to go up. Right, it can continue to go up. Doesn't matter if the whales or people sell right now, because if you keep buying, where they're going to lose is if the user base continues to go down and down, and people want to trade leverage on Tesla. They start to open an account with Aster. Oh, I really like Aster. This is actually better than hype. I like the UI. I like the features. Oh, they're actually giving me kickbacks on my fees. Oh, my fees aren't so high. If you look at the funding rates on Hyperliquid, it's insane. Some of the wallets I've gone into have paid $1 million in funding fees on a trade that's been open for a few months. The customer service is terrible. I'm still trying to get my $10,000 back, and it's been nearly 2 months. They said they're just waiting for an upgrade. It's in a vault, and I'm trying to get my money. I need that $10,000. It's not a small amount of money. And I'm waiting and I'm chasing. I don't think, I don't think they're going to do too well short term. They might retain some users, which will go up over time. Another thing that came to me whilst you were talking, Rob, which is an interesting play. Trading's not going anywhere. This isn't like AI. This isn't like crypto gaming, AI agents, meme coins. This isn't a narrative that pumps and dumps. And I think a lot of people have sold their Aster already, thinking, "Oh, I've just made a 3x, 4x. Now I need to look for the next thing," because we're so used to that mentality, right? Investing has almost been lost. This is a trading platform. People are going to trade this, use this platform in a bear market. Institutions are going to use this. Retail are going to use this. I'm using it personally. It appeals to everyone, and it's not going anywhere. People are still going to use it in a bear market. People are going to use it to long and short. People are going to get liquidated. People are going to lose some fees. The 16 and 17-year-olds who are going to be using this in 2 years on 1,000x leverage, on 500x leverage, gamble it. There's people who don't have access to centralized exchanges that are going to be using this. I think this is going to be interesting in a bear market, because if they're making $50 million every single month in a bear market and buying back the token, it might even continue to rise in a bear market. It might have an initial sell-off as people go, "Oh, we're going into a bear market, time to sell, time to sell." And then as everything else just goes sideways, we might see these revenue generating businesses that are buying back their own token continue to go up. And maybe Hyperliquid does as well if it manages to keep some users. But an interesting sector to watch even in the bear. And I'm doing a full bear market strategy for it to accumulate this a long term. It's not just this isn't just a play for a few months for me personally. I'm going to accumulate it long term.
Well, yeah, and then also, so with this coming through, I see you use MEXC a ton for all your longs and shorts. Would you switch over to Aster, or would you just use them both, or what would be your defining factor of using which one?
Don't like about centralized exchanges. Some centralized exchanges have been asking to reduce size. So I got into Aster long with quite decent leverage, and also Avantis, and I have no intentions of closing them anytime soon. And you get emailed saying your size is too big, and it's like, well,
Really?
it's not too big. It's not too big when my trades are losing. It's only too big when I'm winning, right? And maybe you don't have enough supply to actually pay me out. That's the question. We're going to have to see if MEXC pay me. I'm had some issues with MEXC, and they want to give me my money if this prints. That's all I'm saying. Because I don't know. I would like to get to a place where I'm predominantly leverage trading on decentralized for the exact reasons. I'm having issues. Can I get my money? If I make $2 million, is it going to be there? Am I able to withdraw it? I don't like that. And I love the fact, I've been a Bitcoin maxi for a long time, kind of. And before I degened into altcoins, but I love decentralization. I love taking control of your own money, self-custody. I love that about this space. It's one of the main things that I got into the space, and we now are able to do this on decentralized leverage platforms and with stocks as well, right? So I'm probably going to do most of my trading on Aster. I've got 2 trades that I opened today on Aster. And also, by the way, guys, if you're interested in getting an airdrop, you can trade on Aster, and they will actually give you, they're giving 50% of the supply away to the users, which is billions and billions of dollars. And just think, as the market cap gets bigger, you can get a piece of that pie. I'll give you my code because you actually get a discount on your trading fees. The info on the airdrop is here on my screen, and you can go to my X and click the link, and you get 5%. So I get 5%, you get 5%. We've got a team on Aster, so there's so in my whole communities there, we've got around 240 traders, and the more people that trade in a set team, the more access you get to drops and the airdrops coming.
Yeah, and then well said. And then I will say like this, like when you're talking about, for that referral, 10%. And what I like about this program, it may have shifted a little bit, but it says invite friends and earn, get 5% commission for each trade your referred friend makes, and your friend also earns 5% from their trades. So I got to tell you, I mean, if you're looking for to go the virality of it, to move things out, and again, these referral programs change all the time. It could be different by the time you watch this video. But if you want virality and to make things move, that's the way to do it. Just referrals, get people in there, have a little rev share, and everybody's happy. All right.
Yeah.
So Wes, anything else? We covered a lot of ground in a little over 30 minutes. Anything else to talk about before we ship out of here and start accumulating more Aster?
I think that's pretty much it. Something did come in, which is just a rumor, guys. In the last 2 hours, there is a rumor floating around that Fundstrat, this one as well. We can talk about this one. Fundstrat apparently are potentially going to start a treasury. Oh, here it was. Yeah, Crash tweeted it. Fundstrat potentially going to start a treasury, which does make a lot of sense because apparently they're trying to raise $10 billion, which does make a lot of sense because it's, I mean, treasuries haven't been doing amazingly, but they've been working on layer ones, right? So this is a revenue generating business. This is something that the stocks guys especially are going to understand because they're going to be able to analyze the revenue. They're going to understand the model. They're going to understand that the funds are going back into the token, which is going to raise the token. So yeah, I really do see a treasury for this probably very soon. And also it looks like they've been buying back the token. So this isn't confirmed. Someone's found it on chain. They found $5 million was taken from the treasury and going back into the token. So it looks like they have started the buybacks. They haven't announced how much is going to be going into the buybacks, but 5 million, if this is like daily, that's crazy for how early we are. And if you've seen Tom Lee, he's probably one of the main investors that helped push Ethereum up by a lot. So to have him on board talking about treasury, it's not just about the treasury, it's about the amount of TradFi that are going to be looking and researching into Aster and realizing, okay, Tom Lee knows what he's talking about. He's had a very, very good run. And now he's talking about this new opportunity that is worth putting $10 billion in, could do very well. Yeah.
What's a couple of billion among friends? All right, Wes,
Yeah.
so that's great. Everybody, so again, the links to everything we talked about are in the description. You can follow Wes on YouTube and follow on X. You can take a look at Aster, you can take a look at Aventis, and then just kind of go from there. Again, this isn't financial advice, obviously. There's a massive risk to be taken, but on these things, there are some, of course, pros and cons, and it's up to you to make the final decision. So, Wes, thanks again for stopping by yet again, and we'll have you on when your new pick comes out.
Thanks, Rob. See you in the next one.